In recent years, Hornby has placed a focus on bringing new, fresh ideas and faces into the company, with the aim of continuing our heritage for another 100 years. One of those faces you will have seen at shows up and down the country. Montana Hoeren. Montana is head of brand at Hornby and is passionate, enthusiastic and excited to lead Hornby into the future. A key part of our Centenary year, Montana has spearheaded several projects, including the marketing activity surrounding this iconic Centenary year, and she doesn't plan on stopping there. From working events locally to head of a global brand, Montana has experienced many things during her time here at Hornby. Today she shares her Hornby memories.
So my first memory of Hornby is probably a little bit different to most people. So I didn't grow up with Hornby as a child. Hornby more recently came into my life 5 years ago when I joined the business. And my first sort of pinpoint memory was probably when we went to the Great Electric Train Show. So it was my first model railway show. It was my first proper insight into the model railway industry, and going to an event such as the Great Electric Train Show was a real eye-opener into how the industry worked, what the people are like, what the customers are like. So that's probably my first sort of pinpoint Hornby memory. Prior to working at Hornby, I worked in the event industry. I used to organise cruise and adventure travel shows. So the clientele for those shows compared to model railway shows are very, very different. So it was a real eye-opener seeing how different the customers are. But the thing that really stood out was the passion and the enthusiasm. People flooded into the show, came right up to the stand. We spent most of the weekend swamped. People wanted to see the latest models, asking us lots of questions, and it was overwhelming for a first model railway show. But yeah, the thing that really stuck out the most was that passion and enthusiasm that people have, which I think is really important, and is a real drive for me. To see people so passionate. Yeah, so Hornby's definitely helped me in terms of growing as a person. So as I mentioned, prior to working here, I worked for an events company for almost 2 years. Prior to that, I was at university. So Hornby was my second proper job as such. And I started as a marketing executive, worked on the various different brands underneath the Hornby Hobbies umbrella, and it's just helped me develop as not only a marketeer, but as a person, working with various different teams within the business, working so closely with our customers, going to the shows, speaking to people that aren't people that I speak to at work. And it's just really helped me learn, develop, grow as a person, as well as in my career. So I'm really, really grateful to Hornby for sort of the opportunities that they've given me. So at university I studied creative writing, and I really wanted to progress with that. I wanted to write children's books, but hopefully that will still happen in the future. Whether or not it links with Hornby in some way is a different question, but yeah, at some point in my time I'm hoping to write children's books. So my fondest memory is probably breaks the rules a little bit, because it's not so much a specific memory, but it's more an ongoing memory. So, in the past people have said to me that, you go to work and the people that you work with, you spend more time with than your family, and it almost becomes your second family. And I've always been of the mindset that, you come to work to do a good job, hopefully, and get the job done. So when I started at Hornby, that was the kind of mindset I had. And as I mentioned, Hornby has helped me grow and develop over the last few years. And one thing that has really sort of developed is the friendships that I've got with people at work here. So, like I said, it's not a specific memory, it's an ongoing memory, but I'm very grateful to be in this business, to work with such wonderful people, and, you know, just to build friendships. You know, the people I work with aren't just friends, they are like a second family. We all enjoy what we do, we all want to achieve the same thing, and yeah, we're just a bit of a strange, unusual family, really. So yeah, not a specific memory, an ongoing one, but that's certainly something that's most important to me. We go to various different trade shows at the beginning of every year. So January's crazy busy for exhibitions. So we go to London Toy Fair, we go to Nuremberg Toy Fair, and essentially it's an opportunity for us to display all of our new products for that in particular year. Not just Hornby products, but across all of our brands, so Corgi, Airfix, Humbrol and Scalextric. And going to those shows really kind of kick-starts the year. A lot of work goes into building these ginormous stands, collating all of the latest products, travelling to the location, setting up the stand, putting all the products out. So Toy Fair season is a rewarding season. By then we've launched our ranges, which again is a crazy period for us. And you know, prior to that we have Christmas. So yeah, from September to the end of February, it's a crazy busy time, but it's very rewarding. Working on those trade shows and bringing those products to the market, showing our customers is one of my favourite times. I'm so grateful and feel so honoured. So when I started at Hornby, I was so pleased I've been given the opportunity to work for such a well-known household brand, and I'm just continually grateful. You know, model railways isn't something that I knew much about when I started. I didn't have a train set, I didn't have a layout, so I've kind of started from scratch, and there's a lot of wonderful people who work here who I've sort of utilised and learned from, and I've essentially been a bit of a sponge for the last 5 years. So yeah, it's been an interesting 5 years. So in simple terms, Hornby really does mean my life, and I know that probably sounds really cringy, but I just love working at Hornby. I love what I do, I love the people I work with, and when I'm not at work, I'm thinking about work, and if I'm not thinking about it, you know, I've got my laptop out at home, working on future ranges, working on marketing plans. I kind of feel at a bit of a loose end if I'm not doing something related to Hornby, and it's just such an honour to be able to work towards bringing products to the market that people so badly want. One thing that comes to mind is the rocket. So over the last 5 years, I've spoken to so many people who have said, please produce the rocket. So being able to bring products to the market that people want is really special and important. So
Montana is an example of someone who may not have grown up around model railways, but since working for Hornby has seen all the many benefits that the hobby has to offer. It's hard not to fall in love with a hobby that is filled with so many passionate and devoted fans. Speaking of you at home, we've been inundated with memories since we launched this series, and this month we wanted to share one of yours. Here's a memory from Andy Crane. My whole childhood seemed to revolve around Airfix and Hornby. School seemed to get in the way along with homework and holidays. Without a doubt, it was responsible for me becoming an engineer and still guides my interest in hobbies today. The Hornby catalogue. Whatever the pressures of schoolboy life would bring, there was always the escapism of turning page after page of glorious Hornby rolling stock. The pages would become very worn, and some items would be highlighted by underlining, or in cases where I considered the need to be so enormous, then blue biro would encircle picture, threatening to wear through the page. Of course, I had an oval track, and Polly, the red 040 tank engine, would be circulated at the highest possible speed, threatening to tip off as she reached the bends. Oh, how I needed those engines with magnetron adhesion. As pocket money dictated, I would be occasionally dropped off at a local Hornby retailer. I'd be picked up in exactly half an hour. This was never enough time for me, but plenty of time for the shopkeeper to tire of my constant queries. My money was gripped tightly in a sweating hand as I marvelled at the glass cabinets full of my heart's desires. Behind the long counter, the retailer would observe me with suspicion, but behind him, the whole wall, from top to bottom, was red box after red box. Have you got this? How much is this? I'll think about that. Eventually my time was up, and a new piece of track, maybe a point if I could afford it, was packed into a brown paper bag. Oh, the joy of having something in a red box. The antagonising wait during the drive home and up to my bedroom, stare at the box and open it to expose something perfect and unsullied by human hands. Perfect. It is the same today as then, the hours spent perusing the internet and then the guilty feeling of the purchase. Thanks PayPal for being so easy. The anticipation of the post, the unpacking to reveal the red box with the yellow lion. The tryout on the track and then packed away and placed carefully with the others, maybe not to see the light of day for many years. As I pick through the internet or read the monthly magazines, my eye may be caught by an item that stirs a memory. I had one like that. I have one like that. Thank you to Montana and Andy for sharing their Hornby memories. Remember, if you'd like to share your Hornby memory or to be featured in our ebook, you can email marketing@hornby.com with the subject line Hornby Memories. Thanks for watching, and we can't wait to hear your story.